Hey, welcome back. We're going to be creating a revolve boss base and a revolve cut and just a cut up to a surface. We're going to also show you how to use a line command and transition into arcs without having to select another feature. So what we're going to initially do is this big feature right here, the revolve boss base. We'll come back in and cut this groove, and then lastly we'll cut this mounting boss. So dimensionally, we're going to take a look at this. We got about 1.75 inches long, 1.75 inches in diameter. We've got some features in here: 1/4 inch flat, 5/16 flat up here at the top. We've got a 1 inch radius and a 5/8 inch radius here as well. Part's going to be made out of 1020 steel, and we also want to verify that everything is going to be okay using our mass volume and surface area just to verify that we've kind of stayed on track with this. There may be a rounding error, just a slight little bit, but if it's off very much, we want to make sure that we go ahead and double check our model and correct these things. So let's go ahead and get started. We want to make sure that we're in inch pounds per second. So let's go ahead and create a new part and verify that our standard is right. So look down at the bottom right, inch pounds seconds. I want to come up to the features command. Notice I only have 2 of them available to me at the moment. So I want to select revolve boss base. I want to use our front plane. I'm going to start with a center line, and I'm going to start on the origin. One click, hold it down, let it snap vertically, and then release it. And now we want to transition to a regular line command. I'm going to come over in this general area. One click, pull it up, over, down. Now this one, I want to make sure that I kind of hold and hover and add that relation to horizontal from our origin. Another click, vertical line. This is where it's going to get a little bit tricky. So I'm still in the line command, but if I come down to and just tickle that end point of it, notice the concentric symbol shows up, so that means that I'm in the arc command. So now I transition to arc from line without having to select a different tool. When I terminate it, I'm back in the line command because that's what I had initially. So I come back and I tickle this, and I'm going to create another arc. Now I know that this is not tangent to that just by looking at it. So I want to come up and add a relation. And I have this arc still selected, and I don't have this line selected, so there are no existing relations to that arc and that line. I want to make it tangent. Notice how it smooths everything out. So I go ahead and I want to start dimensioning. So when I hit smart dimension, it accepts what I've just done. So I'm going to come over, pick this first line, and it's going to be 0.25. Our first arc was 1. Our second arc was 0.625. And then this last line here was 0.313 or 5/16. And now what I want to do is I'm just going to move this over out of the way. So we're going to be ready to create a revolve. So let's also change this. This was 1.75 on our overall height. So we've got this line that's black and this line that's black. So it tells us that that's becoming defined. So I move this out of the way. So the next thing I want to do is I want to pick this vertical line. Even though we got it dimensioned here, I need to figure out horizontally where it's going to be. So I'll pick that line, and then I pick my center line. Now notice, over here is nothing more than just a linear distance between those two. So if I stay on the left, that's going to just keep that. But if I cross the center line over here, notice how it doubled that dimension. I stay on the left of the center line, it's just a linear dimension. They pull it over, and it's doubled. So I want to place it down, and that's also 0.313. Alright, so it forced this out a little bit because all of this is driven by this axis right here. So if you look at my mouse pointer, it has this axis and a double dimension on it, or a D for doubling dimension. So the last thing that I'm going to have to select is this other vertical line that's still blue. So I pick it, pull it up, and place it down, and that's going to be 1.75. Then I'm going to click out of the paper space or modeling space somewhere. And we are now, looks like we're fully defined here, but you always want to verify by taking a look down here at the bottom right hand corner, and it does say that we're fully defined, so we don't have something out there just like a little point or another line that's kind of hung out there. So when we exit our sketch, we'd already selected a revolve command, so it puts us back in that. That is what we want, so we go ahead and accept it, and then we look down at our picture. So we want to create this groove pattern right here, and then lastly we'll cut that slot. So dimensionally, we are 0.375 from the top to the top of our groove. Our groove has a 1/8 width, but notice here we got a 0.813 or 13/16 from the center line to that. So we always are going to have that particular diameter. So we want to create a revolve cut this time. So I'm going to come select the front plane. I want to select revolve cut, and then it should orient normal to you. I'm going to use a rectangle command. I'm going to come tickle this left hand edge of my revolve that I had before. And now I also want to draw a center line. So I'm going to come down to my origin, one click, hold it down, pull it up, and then release it. So smart dimensions are what we want to do next. So I'll pick typically I like to start with the smallest dimensions because it keeps things oriented fairly well. So we got 0.13. Now from the top to the top edge of that, it was 0.375. And then remember, from here to our inside line, that was 0.813. So I click out of the modeling space. Looks like we're fully defined. I verify that we're fully defined, bottom right hand corner. I exit the sketch. Now this is one of the issues. We got a center line and a center line in that rectangle that we drew, so it doesn't know which axis that we really want. That's why we drew this axis here. So we accept that, roll it around, take a look at it, and that looks like what we want. So I'm going to use the Control-7 command to put it in isometric. Now we want to select extruded cut, and it's going to ask us what face or plane or existing sketch, but I want to be on this top surface. Select it, Control-8 if yours doesn't orient normal to you. I'm going to pick a regular line. I'm just going to draw a line in this general area here. And now I want to select a convert entities, because I want to pick this face. I don't want to have to draw this circle and really define this stuff. So if I pick convert entities and then I pick this face, it's going to draw a sketch for us. Now I have a lot of extra material out here that I got to get rid of. So I'm going to select smart dimension. I want to pick this and this. And then I also want to pick this outer portion of our circle. So now we have this material here. So on smart dimension, I want to pick a smart dimension, and I want to pick from here. I'm going to hold my shift key down to here, and now it grabs the outer tangent edge of that circle and it grabs this line. I want to come over here and place it down, and I know this was 1.375. And now I've got this sketch here that I want to cut. So when I exit my sketch, it's going to give me a preview. I don't want it to be blind. I want to go up to a surface because I always want it to go to this part of the snap ring groove. So we're going to create this locating boss right here, and then we're going to create this snap ring, and then we go ahead and accept it. We won't really have to think about it again if we have to change our positions. So Control-7. Now one thing that I didn't do is I need to come over here and I want to add a material. And looking at our drawing, it said that we had AISI 1020. So when we add material, we need to right click and then edit material, and then 1020 still typically is opened up on mine. So I'm going to select AISI 1020, apply and close. And now I just want to take a look at the inside of this thing. So up here we have this section view that you can take a look at the inside and see if all of your areas look like they're smooth. You can see where tangency line meets on this. You can change that to where you don't have those tangent lines and really see how smooth it is. But I want to show the lines to where I can kind of see where everything transitions over. Now I sliced this thing in half, but that really doesn't affect any of the volumes or any of the weights or anything like that. This is just a visual thing. So I want to come up to my Evaluate tab, select it, and just above it there's a Mass Properties tab. So I select the Mass Properties tab, look over here, and we're 0.29, 0.79, and 2.77. So 0.79, 2.77, and 18.22. 0.79, 2.77, and 18.22. Looks like we're good to go. So if you want to uncheck your section view, you can go ahead and save that out and turn that in on your LMS.